Umfundisi ke uyajiva apha uyatepisha mama uyayivala engoma nami qoma ke makhe ndimyeke ndenzele nje yena ngale mini yanamhlanje manibulise kwakhona kwaphulaphuli nababukele ekhaya phaa Keith Ngesi Radio Facebook page, Keith Ngesi Radio YouTube channel, and napha ke ku TikTok. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and thank you so much for choosing us ngale ntsasa namhlanje. It's Relationship Friday bese nditshilo ke nathi sancoka naye ke umfundisi mandikusondeze wethu apha ekamereni uzokwazi ubabulisa nabo phaa ekhaya abaphulaphuli.
Thank you very much, Sis Lhoza, and a very good morning to all the listeners and viewers. Masithemba ukuthi abantu bebene veki emnandi and that they will have a very good weekend.
Yes.
Because today is the first day of the weekend. It's Friday. So they always say Friday means freedom.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, and we hope we are going to have fun, and we are going to challenge each other. We are going to deal with some stereotypes, and that also, above all, we are going to educate one another.
Yes.
As we are trying to grapple with this very important subject, which is central in the life of every human being in a relationship.
Yes,
very, very key. You cannot live without being involved in a relationship of one form or the other. So
that's correct.
It's critical.
That's correct. Mfundisi ufika ke namhlanje siqaphela olusuku International Women's Day globally. Kwakube ibe international. We know yes eMzantsi Afrika iyawuba ngo-August Women's Day, and now today bendicela nje into yobana ke sijonge kuba sithetha ngamanina.
Yes.
The BQ besibuza into yobana amanina angancedisana njani ukuxhobisana, ukuqhwabelana izandla, to pray for one another, to cry, to be happy for one, to cheer for one another, njalo. So kuba ke sisondeza kweli cala le relationship ndibufuna singemki apha kumanina. Sizama ujonga i-relationship phakathi komamazala nomakoti. Ziba khona ii-challenges ezivelayo, kuba khona ukunyathelana phakathi kwabantu babini. Yes, omnye umdala komnye, omnye umncinci komnye, and banento ecommon ukuthanda lo nyana walo okanye lo myeni walona. But uye ufumanise into yoba ke ngoku zikhona izinto eziba imicelimngeni phakathi kwaba bantu babini. Zenziwa yintoni mfundisi? Yintoni ixabanisa phakathi komazala nomolokazana? Singayisolva njani? Because into indala le nto eziba iminyaka ihamba iyayisendela, ufumanise uba bathethi and ibeke lo ulapha phakathi epanini. Yabona, ungalibali ke mfundisi, we have non-Xhosa speaking listeners. So uyaligoba mna ndizahlala apha ezinkobeni. Yes. Manikele kwemfundisi, I'm sure singachola nto.
You see, one, there are certain realities we need not to fight against, except to embrace them. One, there is a mother-son relationship. Which dates back to conception. This mother has been through the ups and the downs with her son. And throughout that process, the mother has been raising her son. Surely the mother is expecting to be a primary beneficiary. Once the son has come of age, it's matured. And throughout this relationship, the bond, the mother-son bond, grew stronger.
Yes.
That is a reality. Now, here you come as Lhoza Wamafene, getting married to this son,
Glonyana. Mm.
and you are not marrying with him as a son, but as a husband,
Correct.
which is a different level of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because to you, he is your husband.
Mm. Mm.
Number two, not only your husband, but also your relationship with him
Mm.
puts you at a better advantage.
Okay.
You have access, you have a say,
Mm.
you have authority.
Okay.
By virtue
Of being a wife, to this man.
him.
Okay.
Now you have a privilege
Mm.
that this woman called the mother
Yes.
never had before.
Sure.
Understand that, let's say you found him at the age of 30.
Mm.
This woman has been with this
For 30 years plus 9 months.
plus 9 months.
Yes. Esiwevuka nonyana yakhe.
That's correct.
Ngoku kuthi gqimna unyana senemazinya i-32.
And your sudden arrival
Mm.
means her displacement.
Nkosi yam.
And that's a reality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, surely it will not take the son and the daughter-in-law
Mm.
for a problem not to occur,
Mm.
but the mother-in-law.
Okay.
The mother must come to this reality,
Mm-hmm.
that I must let my son go.
Okay.
And this must be psychological.
Mm.
I must cut off the umbilical cord. I must weaken the emotional bond.
Sure.
I must wean him from me.
Okay.
Because now another woman who is a wife to my son, a daughter-in-law to me,
yes,
has now come. In other words, what happened to me when I got married and what my parents did to me when I got married. If I gave birth to my son outside marriage, I never got married. What would have happened if I had got married?
Yes.
Now, that's the point. You have got to face that reality and begin to let him go. So that's why,
as a mother-in-law.
Yeah. That's why the Bible puts again a responsibility to the son. That it is the son's responsibility to understand that once he gets married, he must leave.
Sure.
In order to cleave.
Okay.
Then they become one. That's a foundational biblical principle. A man must leave.
All right.
The mother and the father.
And
in
cleave.
Order to cleave.
So awukwazi mfundisi uthi ucleave ungalivanga?
No. So
you must leave qala.
Yes.
Masiqhawule qala
Yes. Because when it says the man must leave in order to cleave. To cleave means in order to unite.
All right.
In order to come to a union. So you cannot unite when you are still connected.
Sure.
Or bonded. Yes. To your mother and your father. So you must leave in order to cleave. And then it says, and then the two then shall become one. So that's the end product. Becoming one is an end product of a two-phase process.
Okay.
Living
and cleaving. Okay.
Now, that's the role of the son. Now, which means once the son decides to get married,
Mm.
the son must quickly factor in that implication.
Sure.
That if I decide to get married,
Mm.
it simply means I am deciding to leave
in
order to cleave and become
united
one.
nalo.
Yes, that's my role.
Sure.
As parents, we must begin to prepare ourselves upon hearing the news that our son is going to get married.
Sure.
We must prepare ourselves to let him go. Parents must let them go. Their sons must leave. Now, where the problem is, it is when the son doesn't want to leave. Even when the parents have let him go.
Oh.
That's problem number one. Number two, when both the son does not want to leave and the mother do not want to let them go. Or when the son wants to leave, but the mother doesn't want to let them go.
Oh, izochaphazela lufikayo.
Now, this one becomes now a victim. She comes into the crossfire range between the son and the mother. So the point I am saying is that the point I'm trying to raise here is that the mother-in-law, the daughter-in-law, who is the wife to the son,
sure,
has very little to do.
Okay.
The responsibility lies with the son, who is her husband, and the mother-in-law, who is the mother
to the son.
to the son.
Yes.
Now that's one. It becomes then an unfortunate situation when the wife who to the husband and the daughter-in-law to the husband's mother, when then she begins to enter into this fray and begin to dictate terms, you are not going to win. It is your husband's responsibility.
Sure.
It is your mother-in-law's responsibility.
Okay.
The little you can do is to assist your husband to play his part.
All right.
Than to enter in between your husband
no mama
and your mother-in-law. That's not a wise way of doing it. Because remember, blood is always thicker than water.
Yes.
Immediately you enter between the son and the mother, you are never in a strong position.
Sure.
Because the reality is you are a newcomer.
Yafika.
You are a newcomer, and your relationship with your husband is by choice. And with your mother-in-law is by consent.
Yes. Ewe, ndihamba nawe mna. Ewe.
You have not been chosen.
Yeah.
By your mother-in-law. You may not even be a preferred candidate.
Yes.
You may not be, you may be a surprise package. That's correct.
Not a preferred candidate.
With date remain.
Yes.
I understand.
Because apha engqondweni ebesele naye qoba ngaskele yantomkabani ibe yinyana ngaskaphandle phaya.
Now she is still trying to find out. Once she does not trust you.
Sure, kulonyanakhe.
She trusts herself to her son.
Now,
all of a sudden, she has to hand over her child. Not just to this person, but to another woman.
Oh, Nkosi yam.
Now, that's a challenge. I'm handing over my son to another woman. It takes this mother-in-law's maturity
Sure.
to say, by giving birth, by raising, by going ups and downs with my son, I was playing my parental role.
Sure.
And I cannot be a parent and also be a spouse. Now, it takes maturity
sure.
to arrive at that conclusion.
Sure.
Now, not every mother will understand that with ease. So that's why then we have Masnova, it becomes a battle of womanhood. How can you take over my son when you never paid the price?
So much.
I conceived him. I was in labor ward myself.
I've been
to clinics. I have been to hospitals, sleeping on benches, raising this child. I sacrificed the Lord. Now he is a graduate. He is working. You come, you take over. Now, even though that is not condoned, but I want us as listeners to understand this human element.
Sure.
That is somehow problematic. That the basis of this is an issue of being a human being. As a human being, you tend to want to cling on what you have paid the price for.
Yes.
That's a human element. It's not acceptable, but it does happen. So I'm saying the following. The son has a role.
Okay.
The wife, the mother-in-law, must not get in between the husband and the mother-in-law. That's a dangerous territory.
As umakoti ofikayo apha funeke ube ne wisdom nobuchule boba ujonge, because nyani ke uyafika apha
jonga sisilosi. And I've seen this. Don't side with your mother-in-law. Don't be in between your husband and your mother-in-law. Take side with your husband.
Okay.
Very important.
Okay.
Because you are new to this family. There are family dynamics.
Sure.
There are complexities in this family. Sit the person you can influence, the person you can win, is the one who extended a hand of love to you.
Sure.
Not that woman. That mother-in-law can decide to like you or not to like you. You must respect her choice.
Woman.
It is her right.
Yoba angakufuni.
And
susihlohla xa ungafunwa. Myeke. Mhloniphe.
Don't even feel bad. Respect her choice.
Sure.
Because you have not come here to be a favorite to both. It must happen naturally.
Yes.
If it doesn't,
it's still fine.
Because your commitment your union
Sure.
is with your husband,
Not
with
with
the
the mother-in-law.
not with the father, not with your husband's siblings.
Yeah.
But you
Siblings.
must relate with them through your relationship with your husband. I wish listeners can take note of that. The strategy is relate with your mother and father-in-law, with the siblings of your spouse, through your relationship
with your husband,
your spouse.
I get you.
Don't leave him or her behind. Don't be ahead of him. Be alongside of him. Then you are strategically positioned and protected from falling a prey of family dynamics. You never try to fix what your husband has failed to fix. If you found this family at loggerheads, first win your husband, be in a strong relationship with your husband, influence your husband to spearhead a reconciliation process.
Yes.
That's is why then, Sis Lhoza, I always pity people who even before marriage, they try to win favors of parents of their girlfriends and boyfriends. You have lost it. Because what you are going to do is that you are going to use materialistic things to win favor. It's wrong. It is wrong. They will enjoy everything you are doing for them, but it does not mean they love you.
Yeah. So sulithenga mfundisi okuthandwa ngabo. Mayibe into ezikhulelayo naturally. Suyithenga.
Don't bribe.
Yes, unyoba.
Don't seek fame. Don't be too cheap.
Yeah.
Don't stoop so low. Have nothing to do. Don't be involved in transactions.
Yeah.
Be disciplined even when you have money. Never. You see, you must be disciplined. You must wait up until the appropriate time.
Sure.
So that you do not marry with your husband because of the influence and the pressures from his siblings and parents. Because they don't want to lose your support. So now the question is, are you marrying so for them to sustain the support, or are you marrying because he loves you? Because the risk you are going to face is a risk of being unloved by your husband because and loved
by the entire family,
by your in-laws. Yet you are not married
to in-laws.
To your in-laws. And that's the problem. You will never be happy by being a favorite to your in-laws and a neglected individual to your husband.
Yeah.
You will never make it. You will suffer from stress. You will suffer emotionally. You will look good, but inside you will be destroyed. And that marriage will not see the light.
Yeah. It is 8:37 Central African Time. Kukithingesi Radio. Last hour social crossover with me Lhoza Wamafene. Sixoxela nomfundisi bangaba mhlawumbe uyaqala banathi enqubeni siyakwamkela ababapha ku Facebook nabapha ku YouTube. Those who are tuning in via TikTok, thank you so much for joining us. You are discussing because it is International Women's Day. Ngoba namhlanje make sithethe ngobubudlelwane phakathi bukamakoti no Mazala. kuyathanda uba kruthwano kuyathanda and ke in addressing that kuyanyanzeleka umfundisi simchaphazele lo kuziwe ngayo lo badibanisayo. So mhlawumbi uyibamba phakathi awukho sure uba senza ngantoni, sizama uadresa le nto esoloko kube nzima umakoti ugoduka nangoDisemba uba kaloku izawuba ngumlo.
Now, because all what we're talking about is understanding relationship dynamics.
Sure.
That here is three. It's you as the wife. It's your husband, who is the son to his parents, and a brother to his siblings.
Sure, correct.
Now, I am saying, don't be in between your husband and his siblings and the parents. Be alongside your husband. Number two, understand he is your husband, he is their son.
Sure.
He is a husband, he is their brother. The two are not the same. Number three, sit down, discuss relationship standards between the two of you and his family.
Sure.
Sit down. Because if he has 5 siblings and parents, even the relationship standards may not be the same. Because some of his siblings may be married. Some may be in a position to look after themselves. Some may need assistance.
Sure.
Your in-laws may be able to survive on their own. They may depend on your support. So it's not size fits all. Sit down and say, here is us, there is them. How do we interact? What should be our relationship standards? How should we engage each other? Is it in terms of responsibility, providing support, or is it in terms of when there is a need, we respond to that need? How do we reach out to them?
Sure.
How do they reach out to us? Because nonetheless, we are one family with different households.
Yes, with different households.
Now, we are not one household. We are one family. Now, and ezizindlu masigcinwe zohlukene. Noxa ilusapho lunye.
I hear you.
Masigcinwe zohlukene. So we must be able to say, household A idlelana kanjani household B. No C, no E, no D. Because there will be no size fits all. But this principle is key, that our primary responsibility is our
So I want you to try this next time you...
So our primary responsibility is our household. So our household comes first before
abanye.
Yes.
Yo.
Because we are the founders of our household. We are the final decision makers of our household. Others may recommend, but they have no authority to decide for us.
Sure.
Also, we can recommend, but we have no authority to decide for them. So that's relationship. Now, in terms of priority, ours come first.
Yes.
Number 2, in terms of relationship, we must set standards.
Sure.
Number 3, in terms of decision making, they recommend to us, we decide. We recommend for them, they decide. That must not be confused.
Sure.
They may be our parents,
kodwa
they are not decision makers
apha
for our
kwethu.
household.
I get you.
They can recommend. We can seek a word of counsel.
Because
But
bangabazali.
when we seek a word of counsel, we are not seeking their decision. We are seeking a word of counsel.
Very
the
key.
decision resides with us.
So
That's how we should manage it.
Yes, abazali, the entire family ingarecommenda.
Yes.
Kuzawuxhomekeka kum and babe ready into yobana sisengayithathi le recommendation. Because funeka
Yes.
sihlale phantsi sijonge. Akuzufika ndenza umzekelo, umzekelo lula, umother-in-law azothi hayi le ndlu mayibe pinki. Peyintani pinki apha. Sibaleke siyothenga ipeyinti epinki because umama uthe nomnye besithi ngumamam lo uthethile. Ndizama umzekelo mfundisi.
correct.
So funeka sihlale phantsi thina mntu wam myeni wam sithanda sam lo mbala upinki umama ubonisa ukuba masipeyinte epinki.
That's why, Sis Lhoza, the key thing is that I said parents, when their children get married, their responsibility changes.
Yes.
One, they must let them go. That's number one. They must let them go. Bakhululeni. Give them their space.
Correct.
But again, keep the door open.
Sure.
How do you keep the door open? Bantwana bam, this is your home as well. We are still your parents. As and when you need help,
Sikhona.
it could be in the form of advice. It could be whatever. We will provide it if we can.
Sure.
Where we cannot, we will indicate so. Even us, when we need help, we will give you a shout. We will be glad when you can, but we'll also understand where you cannot.
Yes.
So in other words, you are on your own. Protect your privacy. We are on our own.
Correct.
We must protect the privacy. So we must relate because as a family, there are many activities that will need all of us.
Yes.
It could be a good, nice activities like weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, and so forth. There could also be funerals where all of us will have to come together as a family. You see? So that's how then you manage the tension of in-laws.
Yeah.
If it is not managed, it becomes, I always say, an unnecessary tension. It is not necessary. Why would I be at loggerheads with my son-in-law, with my daughter-in-law? It's not necessary. So why would they be at loggerheads with me? It's an unnecessary tension. Because at the end of the day, children are born, raised, start working, get married. It's normal.
Yes.
It is what every family
wishes for. Yes. Don't go kelwisayo xa enze le nto lomntana benikade ndinqwenela.
So that's why I call it an unnecessary tension. Because it is not a tragedy at all. I mean, it is not. It is a norm. It is a practice, a universal practice. Men should get married. Women should get married. So what's the problem?
So, Mfundisi, we are saying here, viewers and listeners at home, we're discussing relationship dynamics, in-laws, and so what we are saying, uthi ingulo makabaleke kwilane yakhe, makabaleke emgceni wakhe, abazali mabahlale bengabazali. iphela phaya birole yabo ebuzalini. Mna as unkosikazi mampheli mandibaleke kuleni yam as inkosikazi to this son yabo and a daughter-in-law to them. Uyabona?
And
Kungabikho ngquzulwano.
yes.
Umntu abe clear ngerole yakhe.
And this does not only begin when your children get married. As you raise children,
Sure.
they will remind you, Sibadala mama.
So qalisa unawo ubulumla
That's the
kancinci.
sign. It's not about marriage. But I'm going to tell you, Sibadala, you don't have to tell us everything. We know what to do. You don't have to remind us. It's not because we've forgotten. Even by the time they get to grade 12, you first learn when they reach teenage stage. Then young adults, they go to university. They will tell you, Mama, I am with my friends. Call me later. Don't disturb me. You say, what's your plan about the whole day? I still have to apply my mind. I will come or I may not come. So no, if it's holiday, say, Mama, I'm an adult now. I'm 21 years. I've got to decide for myself. I had an ID from the age 18. So you don't have to worry yourself. You don't have to tell me. Now, if now your mother-daughter relationship does not factor in the growth element in your daughter, you're going to be at loggerheads. With your son, you are going to fight. So which means by the time they say, I'm getting married, already you have been on the road of this one getting a little bit of his or her own independence. So that's the conclusion that now I know. Before he or she would be with friends, but now he or she is going to be with his spouse or her spouse. So it's not something new. It should not take us by surprise. So we must help ourselves not to create problems that are not necessary.
Women. Therefore, Mfundisi, don't you think we need to prepare abazali xa couple izawutshata? We normally, take them, we premarital counseling. Don't you think there's a need as a society ngoku, not only abazawutshata, because ayide yenzeke ncam lento baba ifamily zigethe and the understanding of living and cleaving? Or don't you think it's necessary maybe to take through them, no about 1 or 2 sessions, their parents or the entire family, to say, guys, is no change?
There is some kind of preparation, Sister Rose. You know, that period where both parents begin to know, because a daughter will tell her parents that there's a family that wants to come. They are requesting to meet with you on this date. And parents will know that, okay, our daughter has accepted a proposal of a set. And then parents begin to inquire about those people.
Sure.
That is the beginning. Same applies with the son. When he says, Dad, Mom, I've decided now to get married. This is the girl I'm going to get married to. We have agreed. How can you start negotiations? So that's the beginning. And that's not an overnight process. So which simply means parents must start from that stage to sort of allow themselves to adapt to this new phase. You know, that is important. That's why even during the wedding,
Mm.
or during family gatherings, parents are involved in the program. Into babayale. So, and it does not mean the family relationship is broken.
Sure.
The family relationship does not break, but it takes a new form.
Yeah. Because kukho additional member ngokwapha ekhaya.
Marriage does not break family relationship, but marriage calls for a new form of family relationship. And that the design of that new form has to be considered by both the husband, the wife, and their parents.
Sure.
That's all what it means.
Sure.
It's not something new. It's just a new form of relationship. For example, now I have a wife, now I have a husband. So whatever you say to me, I cannot decide unilaterally. So I have to bounce it with my spouse.
Yes.
So you may as well raise it with my spouse. My spouse will raise it with me. So there's a new form of relationship. We are still that one family, but because now I have my own household, my status has changed. I'm a son to you. I'm a daughter to you, but I'm a husband of someone. I'm a wife of someone. I am a parent myself. You are grandparents. So you are not replacing. You are a parent to me, but you are a grandparent to my grandchildren, to my children. I am a parent to my children. So now our status has changed, and the status change requires a new form of relationship that befits the current status.
Mfundisi uyigqibile andiyazi uba mphulaphula unombuzo. If you have any question, please sesinomzuzu omnye sefuneka siqoshelisile because funeka sithethe ngalaa mcimbi we-singles shortly, but in a nutshell ayixabanisi.
No.
Hayi mntana bethini ayixabanisi mali ngekuba yinto emnandi lena. Ishasathi ke njengoba umfundisi ebetshilo, understanding iba yi-lack of understanding kulaa live and cleave. Nomthakazi okanye umakoti ofuna ungena sele ngena ekucaca into yobana umshiya ngemva okanye uphala phambili, angabi along apha ecaleni kulwaze ngayo.
Yes.
So ibekho ke ngokolwaa ngquzulwano because ufuna ngoku uba ufike umuntu esithi ufuna ndikhethe amacala ndikuchusisa, akho need.
You and Sis Lhoza, you must always be very careful, especially amongst women, using the siblings of your husband or the parents of your husbands to push your agenda over your husband. Never rely on other people's influence to change your husband. Your husband must learn to listen to you, because you will do that one day when those people decide to choose or to take side with your husband. You will be alone. Never. It may work, but when it fails to work, I'm telling you, you'll be alone. Because blood is always thicker than water. That is why your husband may mess up. You go and report your husband to his siblings and parents. That they will have a mild understanding.
Because yenziwe ngowabo.
Because they'll say, well,
ewe mana hayi notata ke wayenjena. Ewe mana into yalapha ekhaya.
We thought he had stopped.
Ewe man, don't worry.
We thought you were aware of who he is. Now you are going to get the shock of your life Don't make your husband the responsibility of his siblings and parents. Your husband is your responsibility.
Yes.
Your wife is
your
your responsibility.
Yes.
Don't delegate that responsibility to other people.
Ndikuvile. Ngenxa yexesha.
Yes.
ngenxa yexesha. Eliyuxandiwe to wow, that's so powerful. Never use you or his siblings to push your agenda emtshatweni wakho. Ingxaki zakho zizawuba ninzi. Unfortunately ke ixesha liphelile. Baphulaphuli will meet again nomfundisi next Friday.
Yes.
Sibone uba sithini. I think funeka sigqibezele mfundisi because you will hear kukho omakoti abathi abaceli kum bacela imali kubhuti wabo. You ezazi zinto. Baya kuye bayandishiya mna bafuna izinto kuye ndibona izinto zalapha endlini ziphumile.
Let's leave them. But kule yenu indlu, what is the arrangement? What is the
hayi ndibona
arrangement?
sebanikile mna imali Lhoza ndiyazi uba izawuthini ingahange idlule kum.
Yes, but what is your household arrangement? There's nothing wrong in them asking for
Sicela imali
money.
kubhuti wabo.
Yeah, not at all. Because they are used to.
Yes.
It is their brother. It is easy for them. I mean, they grew up. They were supportive to their brother.
Sure.
Now, when they are in need, they must cry out to their brother than to cry out to strangers. There's nothing wrong there.
Yeah.
But the key thing is, what is your household arrangement?
Sure.
Insofar as your siblings and parents, what is your household arrangement? When you are married, you must not be a complainer. Set standards to guide the operations within your family. Don't be a crybaby. Marriage is not a union for babes. It is not a union for complainers. It's a union for adults. It's a union for people that are matured. And if we are matured, we must not be reactive.
Sure.
We must not complain. We must be proactive. We must see things before they happen. We must channel them the way they should happen. So a problem apa sikhula nge-ID.
Khulanga ngengqondo. Fundisi
Yes, emtshatweni sifuna abantu abakhula ngengqondo.
Upstairs.
Not nge-ID. ID
Home
doesn't
affairs,
matter. You must be mentally mature.
Ilapha mfundisi.
You see?
Ndikuvile. Household arrangement, very important, very key. Senza njani thina apha. Besicacisile, we are all family here.
Yes.
With different households.
That's correct.
Kulena kwenziwa njani.
Lithini isiko lale yethu.
Ndikuve kakuhle mna mfundisi. Ngenxa yexesha, unfortunately, we have to leave it there for today. Quacks is up next in Phulaphuli. Thank you so much for tuning in. Gama lam ndinguLhoza Wamafene. Ndaba nomfundisi Maphinda ke kule session. Last hour, social crossover every Friday. Thank you. Have a blessed weekend. Until sibonane.